Welcome back. Our next guest is a respected journalist, a broadcaster and an author who has spent decades at the forefront of political and business reporting in Ireland. Right. He's also a bit of crack.
There you have it. Here to give us a deep dive into his new book, Dynasty. It is, of course, Matt Cooper. Good morning to you, Matt.
Good morning. I'm very surprised to be called respected.
Well,
you're so respected. You're so
very respected this morning.
So respected, Matt.
Listen, congrats. You're a busy boy, but a new book. I don't know how you have time to do all of this stuff, but Dynasty, a look behind the scenes in the Dunne Stores family. My God, that must have been interesting.
Oh, it was absolutely fascinating to do. One of the most enjoyable pieces of work I've done my entire career, I'd have to say. Great stories, a combination of a whole load of stories about people who are absolutely fascinating, about a business that everybody knows in this country, Dunne Stores, and even just about how Ireland has changed over the 80 years since Dunne Stores was set up in Cork in 1944. Ireland has changed so much in the amount of money that we have to spend, how we shop for our clothes, for our food, and how Dunne Stores has changed in that time. It just made for me a compelling story to put together, and of course also political controversy along the way as well, and some extraordinary stories about the individuals who owned Dunne Stores.
He had to get in there that it was set up in Cork, of course. His first thing he had to get in there, of course, that's what he had to do. Because let's talk about this. I think what's fascinating about Dunne Stores is how they're ubiquitous. We all know them. Everyone shops there. They have been involved in so much of political life, but yet they're so private.
Yeah.
And we can't get in, and that's what you've managed to do. Because Margaret Heffernan, she's the matriarch, like she runs the place. So let's kind of go back to how she became into control, because Ben Dunne, her brother, would have been very much involved in it as well.
Yeah, the Ben Dunne Sr. and Nora set up the company in 1944, and then they involved their children in it from a very early stage. And the children didn't finish out secondary school. They were brought into the stores in Cork to work from their teens. And Margaret Heffernan effectively has spent 70 years working inside in Dunne Stores. But the nature of Irish business in the 20th century, the expectation was it was going to be the men who would take over when the parents handed over control. And first it was going to be Frank, who I've written an awful lot about in the book. I was able to find out quite a bit about him and why it didn't happen for him to become the leader as had been expected. And then Ben, who became one of the most famous people in Ireland in the late 20th century, how he took control of the business. But then Ben had a major incident. And everyone thinks of Orlando as being the major incident, but what I really say is the kidnapping that he experienced in the early 1980s was the defining moment in his life, and I get a lot of detail on that. And then he struggled in the next decade. Although he was doing brilliantly in developing the business, he was struggling enormously personally, which led to the now infamous Orlando episodes of 1992, the cocaine bust which took place at that particular time. And that then had all the political intrigue which followed it, sucking in the likes of Charlie Haughey and Michael Lowry. But that was the point at which Margaret Heffernan, who had worked her way through the business the whole time, who was there, decided, I have to save the business from the damage that Ben could do from it. And one of the most extraordinary parts of the story is the 1990s when Margaret took control of the business. But then you go from that, and what she has done with the business since, how she has changed the nature of the business, changed the nature of the supermarkets, changed the clothing offering, bringing in homewares, all of the designers, and still in her 80s is still absolutely central to the most important decisions made about Dunne Stores.
Did you get to talk to her?
No. Nobody gets to talk to Margaret Heffernan in the media.
Well, because I've been into the offices, it's top security in there. Getting to get
Go on, tell us more.
These
Someone's
details.
going to come and take them out.
But like to do a book like this, and you've done a number of books about big, highly influential Irish business people. To get these stories, will they be upset with some of the stories actually lifting the lid on what goes on behind the scenes?
I suspect they might be, but when you're as big as Dunne Stores is in Irish society, and when you've had the influence that you've had in relation to politics and whatever, you can't avoid being written about or been spoken about. And Dunne Stores has also done things like gone to the courts on many occasions, and you find out an awful lot about the attitude and the behaviour there. I've spoken to lots of people who've been involved with Margaret Heffernan over the years. You do get an enormous amount of respect for her, an awful lot of admiration. There's also perhaps in some cases a little bit of fear. The amount of people like, we've been told not to talk to you, we're under no circumstances let it be known that we have spoken to you. But I think I've been able to put together a very fair and accurate picture of Margaret Heffernan. And also, I would have had an enormous amount of access to Ben, particularly in the 1990s. Some of the conversations I had with Ben, particularly sitting in his house out in Castleknock and Porterstown, were absolutely remarkable, the insight he provided.
Well, talk a little bit about that, because he was a gregarious person and he was on I remember him being on the front of papers all the time. He was very much a media dart. He was involved in Irish life. Yeah. And you've got Margaret Heffernan, who's on lockdown. Two very completely different people.
Well, yes, not completely on lockdown in the 1980s, before all of Ben's troubles in Orlando surfaced. She would have been involved, and I give her a lot of credit in the book for her charitable work and people in need in particular. And she would have appeared at various public functions, and she would have done 1 or 2 television appearances. So she hasn't been on complete lockdown, but it's very, very careful. On the other hand, Ben, you couldn't shut Ben up. No. I mean, basically, he was a dream for radio, for television, for newspapers. He wanted to have his say and his opinion on nearly everything.
But you do talk about the impact that kidnapping had on him.
Yeah.
Mentally had an incredible toll.
Absolutely, and I'm very sympathetic to that. I think there are issues within the family which I hopefully have dealt with sympathetically in relation to addiction as well. And I think Ben would have had his issues anyway, but certainly the toll of the kidnapping was extraordinary. You can't imagine, I don't think any of us can imagine what it would be like to go through the experience when he was kidnapped by the IRA, he was kept for a week in Armagh, wondering was he going to be released, and then even the circumstances of his release, where he was still terrified that he would be shot by accident by the Gardaí or by some of the police in the north looking to try and rescue him. And he didn't get proper treatment for that. He did suffer post-traumatic stress, it's quite obvious.
Went straight back to work.
Went straight back to work the following day after being released. And then all of the addiction issues took hold, drink, cocaine, various things. And then everything sort of spun out of control, which does make for a hell of a story to tell.
It really does. It's called Dynasty. It's a brand new book from Matt Cooper, and it's all about the Dunne's family and Dunne Stores, of course, because Margaret Heffernan is very important to her that it's a family business.
It is, that's it. And it's extraordinary. For 80 years, it has remained fully in family control.
That's it.
No
Who's going
outside
to take
shareholders.
over after Margaret if she does step down?
Well, she has her daughter Anne and her niece Sharon McMahon in place, and they're very, very important. But you do have to wonder, will they have the same drive and determination? And that's not a slight on them in the least, but that's what happens when family businesses move from generation to generation. Does the following generations have the same drive to continue as those who have set it up?
Like yourself.
What do you mean?
I mean, podcasts, speaks, everywhere I go, Matt Cooper's giving a speech to someone, radio shows, everything that you're doing all the time,
books.
Columns. Oh, you never stop. Are you creating a dynasty?
Didn't I stop television?
Did you?
Yeah, you did. Are you going back there again?
You might be going back very soon. Have you had a call?
What?
Have you had a call?
No, listen, I'm not going to go near RTE.
Very interesting. Like your podcast, of course, with Ivan Yates seems to get headlines wherever he goes. Ivan.
Well, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does say a few things, but we've good fun on the podcast.
It is
a bit like your own one with Dunne on the rugby. It's good fun. Podcasts is a new way of doing things, differently to what we would do in radio or do in television, and it's great fun. Although the radio, the last word remains the main thing.
But there we go. There we go.
You talked though about the economy quite a bit and recession incoming.
Yeah.
And obviously, are you fearful for the way the economy is going?
Ooh. Ireland at the moment is very different to the rest of Europe. I was just talking to somebody from An Post the other day who was saying that they're getting volumes of parcels just increasing all the time coming in, various shipments coming in. Irish consumers are spending more than anyone else, it seems, around Europe at the moment. I don't know where money is all coming from. Yeah. And you do worry, even what's happening in America, that they don't seem to be suffering the tariffs at present, but I think it's only the very wealthy who are spending who are actually keeping the economy going there. Look, you can always be worried about recession, predicting it. They say economists have predicted 9 of the last one recession, whatever it is, and You know, I don't know.
We don't know.
But I tell you this, do you know who knows when there's a recession coming? If she'd talk and say, Margaret Heffernan would know, because retailers know exactly how people are spending, and they see things coming months in advance of when actually we all realise what actually is happening.
I wonder if she knows who's going to win the presidential election. We were just talking about this. We had Catherine Connolly in a little bit earlier on, flying ahead in the polls, 38%, 18-point lead over Heather Humphreys. But 49% of people are saying that there's no candidate that represents them. What do you think about turnout is going to be in this?
I think it'll be low. I think you've hit on a really, really interesting, important point. I mean, why is it that so many people seem to have disengaged? I mean, maybe it's down to not having enough candidates available to them. Maybe it's poor selection of the candidates as well by the main political parties. And that's not in any way a slight against Catherine Connolly, who at the moment looks as if she is going to be the next president based on these opinion polls. But why is it that so many people are just looking...
Do you think Ivan's comments about smear the bejesus out of her has helped Catherine Connolly?
I don't think it's meant a 19% difference in the first opinion, but it might have
certainly
had some...
using it to her favour, I think.
Yeah. I'm not responsible for
No, you're not. No.
Right?
And then you could say it was Sean Defoe's fault that time. Exactly. Because you normally keep a rein on him.
I keep a rein on him.
Were you raging he didn't say it on your podcast?
God, no.
No. Save that for ours.
I don't want to be responsible for what Ivan used.
It would mean you'd have to respond to it.
He also gets a couple of mentions in the book along the way as well.
Who, Ivan?
Oh, yeah.
In his relationship.
Right. So he ended up he was one of the people that got money as a politician from Ben Dunne.
Of course he did. And we're wondering where your sources are
all
coming from.
completely legitimate, I believe, is what we should actually put in there before you lead us down a garden path.
You mentioned you've done, obviously, Michael O'Leary, Tony O'Reilly. Your favourite kind of book to...
This.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying this. I loved in particular doing the Tony O'Reilly book. Going back like yourself, great rugby winger for Ireland and the British and Irish Lions, like yourself, and a brilliant life story. But these are brilliant life stories as well. I love getting into the stories of the Irish people who have been successful, who have achieved in business.
Can't wait until we get the autobiography. Matt Cooper, brand new book is called Dynasty. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Matt, great to have you
with you in Ireland AM in just a minute.